Just a quick one before we start today, guys, to say thank you so much for 1,000 subscribers. It's not something that I ever thought that I could reach. I started this channel as a means of just improving myself, but you guys with your support have made it so much more than that, and I can't thank you enough. Today, we've got a 1,000 subscriber special. It's Punt or No Punt. It's BenaBadBeat reviewing my play. I hope you guys are really going to enjoy it. Thank you so much again. Stay safe, and I'll see you on the next one.
Okay, so today, guys, we are back with another episode of Punt or No Punt, and it's a bit of a special one. Firstly, because we are nearing 1,000 subscribers, but also we need a special guest for that as well. So today we do have none other than Nick Eastwood. How you doing, mate?
I'm doing very well, thank you, Ben. Thank you so much for having me on the show today.
You're very welcome. I'm very much looking forward to some of these hands that we might be looking at today.
I thought you might be.
So the rules of this game are very simple. Nick is bringing 5 hands that I have never seen. Can you confirm that, Nick?
There is no chance that you have seen any of these hands because you don't even have them on your database.
Great. And the general rules are, I watch the hand, we discuss it, I ask questions, Nick gives justification throughout, and then at the end of each hand, I give the verdict as to whether or not that hand is a punt or a no punt. By the end of the 5 hands, there will be a winner. Either Nick is a punt lord or not, depending on how things go.
Yeah.
And I'd like to give you actually an opportunity for you to, I don't know, give a disclaimer before we look at any other hands.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. And thanks for explaining the rules to me. Yeah, these are from since I started streaming, this is from a sample of 110,000 hands. So this is 5 hands from 110,000 hands. These are not good. Some of these are not good. Some of these might be good, but they might be luckily good. But I wanted to bring some, some ammunition to this one. So hopefully it's useful and we don't go 0-5. We'll see.
Well, I'm hoping that we do, but for entertainment purposes.
That's understandable.
Anyway, let's get into the first hand. So the first hand, we've got 5-6 of spades and the big blind. And we get an open for 2.5x from MP. And we have an option to 3-bet or call. And I guess we're going to call. Yeah, we call.
We go for the call.
Yeah. So bottom pair, backdoor flush draw, backdoor straight flush draw. Pretty good flop for us, I'd say.
Yeah. We go for the check though here, Ben.
Yeah, looks good.
And we get this.
Get a large bet on the flop. I'm actually quite a fan of villain sizing here. What are your thoughts? Well, I guess I want to say my thoughts first are that I think mixing between check call and check raise and never check folding are both viable. So what do you choose to do?
I'm never check folding as well. We do go for a raise.
Okay, so can you say a bit more about the reasons you decided to raise?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we've got a lot going on here. And I think if we call, then we're going to have, a little bit of trouble on turns that we have to check on. So I like taking the initiative here and putting some pressure on with this particular combo.
Okay. Can I ask another question as well? Generally at this limit, do people kind of size more to the strength of their hand in terms of c-bet sizes and stuff, or are they quite balanced, or is this player balanced?
This guy's on. I've got 30 hands on him.
Okay.
And I don't know him. I didn't know him at the time. I'll elaborate on that later.
Sure.
But yeah, generally speaking, there are some people in the pool that are going to understand why they should use certain bet sizes, but a lot of the time, probably not. I imagine he's sizing up because he knows I'm going to connect fairly well with a big blind.
Well, I guess that based on that information that this person is a relative unknown, I'm definitely less of a fan of raising because you're kind of leaning on the side of having less reasons to raise. If you knew this person liked to bet fairly well, a good strategy, then you have more justification for raising. But either way, you've raised, and I'm assuming, well, actually they might 3-bet. Let's see what happens.
They go for the call.
They do call. Okay, sure.
With the deuce of diamonds.
Okay. Oh, well, you show me what you've done first, I guess.
Oh, I thought you would talk about what I should be doing, though.
Okay, well, I think that this turn is going to be a card that obviously doesn't change the texture of the board.
Yeah.
So naturally, we're going to be wanting to use a large bet sizing here as our only sizing.
Okay.
And by large, I'm talking at least pot, because I don't really see how a hand like Ace-10 that may have raised the flop is allowed to, given that the in-position player has bet big and then called, and has all of the overpairs that we don't have.
Yeah.
Ace-10 even becomes a little bit thin for a turn barrel. So I'm assuming for me that I would want to be using a very large sizing and being very selective with the combo of hands that I decided to bet.
Right. I don't imagine that I do anything other than 22 here. Let's have a look.
It's 22 the sizing.
Yeah,
26.
That's better than I thought it was going to be. It's okay.
Yeah, 26 is absolutely actually a really good sizing here. I think that this accommodates. This kind of is saying that maybe you want to bet ace 10, and I'm wondering whether or not you do bet ace 10 here, or whether or not you check raise ace 10.
I don't check raise ace 10. I probably continue betting ace 10. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, it probably features. I'm not 3-betting 7s and 5s, so I know I have those. And then I have like a bunch of these like backdoor or open-ended straight draws and stuff on the
Sure. So the
like
what's the bottom of your value range on the turn when you take this line? If not ace 10,
maybe like if not ace 10, then probably like 7-5.
Okay, so 2-bet, yeah, makes sense. And what kind of bluffs are you going to have here?
8-6 of diamonds, 9-6 of diamonds.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently 6-5 of spades.
8-9 of diamonds.
8-9 of diamonds. Yeah, stuff like that, man.
Yeah. What about hands like? Would you rather bet 5-6 of diamonds on the turn than this hand?
No, I'd probably check 5-6 of diamonds a bunch.
Okay. So I think that's the kind of like slightly it's important to look at it in the terms of higher equity is bigger bets or putting more money in.
Yeah.
So it could flip it the other way around, could be helpful in terms of like barreling your 5-6 of diamonds and then kind of checking this combo on the turn some of the time. To be honest with you, I don't think this is actually that bad so far. So either way,
all right.
Let's see what he does.
He goes to the call bend.
Okay, so what do you put his range as here when they call the turn?
Maybe some 10x, and then some overpairs, and then maybe some slow played sets. He can have.
Flush draws?
He can. He could have like ace king of diamonds.
Yeah.
Ace queen of diamonds, stuff like that.
Cool.
I also block pocket fives, which is definitely going to be something he can have as well, which is nice.
Yeah.
I thought at the time.
I agree.
7s and 10s, obviously he's going to have as well, but there's we're doomed against those. Anyway, He does call Ben, and this is the river.
Okay. So presumably you're going to wager all the money for 93 big blinds, or you might check call like an actual god.
Yeah.
Knowing
that we're not a god, you probably know it.
I guess I'm curious as to what we make them fold when we shove, and whether or not we can make them fold many better hands, whether or not you believe that we can make them fold pocket jacks, because for this to be profitable, we need to be making them fold some form of value hand. And if the fact that you don't know if villain is good or bad or sticky or not, and you have such a small sample on them, I would probably say that it's very impossible to make that kind of to come to
very
that conclusion.
Impossible.
Yeah,
that's not a good amount.
I would say so. But that said, you do block 6-8, which villain could have. You do block pocket fives, which villain could have.
Yeah.
But then the other thing is, I think like you unblock flush draws, and those are going to fold anyway. And those does that mean that 5-6 is a better check call than a shove?
Well, I think I'd just rather check call with 10x because then I can block like top set and stuff.
Yeah, I mean that is reasonable, but I mean that like it's based on whether or not this hand class finds its way into a check call, check fold, or shove itself. Kind of feels pretty cuspy to me, like kind of almost feels too strong to bluff. I know that seems kind of ridiculous, but
okay. I didn't think that I was going to win by checking.
Can you say some more about that?
Yeah, because I just don't expect like all that much to see anything other than at these stakes, like some 10s and some overpairs. Now, basically, what I'm trying to say here is that I have 6-8, I have pocket fives, I have pocket 7s, I have 10-7, I have 7-5. Here's my money.
Okay.
And if you want to call with jacks, then you just have to know that I'm going to have all that, and I know that I'm not going to be bluffing too much. So it felt okay.
See, that's kind of where I'm a little bit unsure, because you're saying you're not going to bluff that much, but you've managed to find your way to the river with 5-6 of spades here, which means you
but like I said,
are bluffing quite a lot.
Mix in some checks with some diamonds. I'm not sure, like with 6-5 of diamonds. Like I said, I don't know, man. Like I might, I don't know. This is why it's in here, dude.
Yeah.
So like I'm not sure.
I think it's a really interesting hand. I think there's a lot of speculation to be had on how much villain folds if you do shove. But I want to see what you did first.
We're all in then for 811 big blinds.
Yeah, it's a lot of big blinds.
Yeah.
So I think this boils down to whether or not you think you can make villain fold a 10 or jacks. And honestly, I don't know. I personally wouldn't try make an unknown player fold pocket jacks at any point in any hand, given the board's run out like this. I would much rather do this versus someone I knew who had a little bit more information on.
Okay. I mean, that's fair enough. I felt like I had a boatload of value. I did block some stuff like 6, 8, and 5s.
Yeah.
And I also feel like explosively at these stakes, they're going to fold a little bit more than they should in this, but they're not going to be defending appropriately versus shove.
Sure.
That's all I've got for you, man.
And like another, like a little point to mention is that like you do make them fold 5x of diamonds, 7x of diamonds. Obviously, those are hands you lose to. And then obviously, if at any frequency they do fold pocket jacks, this is going to be making money for sure.
Yeah.
I definitely don't. I'm going to give the verdict now. I don't think this is a punt. I think this is. It's like borderline punt, but it's definitely not into the kind of category.
There's no borderline punt. There's only punt. Or no punt.
There's only punt or no punt.
So what is it?
I'm going to give this one a no punt.
Right. Results?
I reckon villain folded.
Snap call. Literally, my money had not even gone in the pot, and he was all in.
Yeah.
With the ace 10.
Yeah. This makes your bluff a punt, but I said the verdict beforehand.
Yeah, but here's the thing, right? And what I was talking about earlier that I mentioned, we were streaming, obviously, as we stream every session, and I did not know this player, but he was a viewer. And this session, I was actually playing with a guy you know well, Smith, who does a lot of bluffing, and he was encouraging, not obviously in the hands, but general play a little bit more bluffing, and we were doing a lot of bluffing. So at this point, this guy was watching a stream, and we were bluffing a lot more than we normally do.
Sure.
And yeah, I mean, I didn't know he was watching. So in that sense, if I'd known he was watching, I never would have done it, obviously.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was interesting in like a general like theory sense.
Yeah, it's a very interesting hand, and yeah.
But I got absolutely snapped off, and we did not win.
Unlucky. Well, we are 0 for 1, which is good.
Yeah, was it? Well, I'm winning 1-0, right?
Yeah, you're winning 1-0.
Yeah, right, great.
All right, let's go on to the second hand.
Perfect.
Okay, so this hand we got ace 5 of spades in MP, and it's an anti-game. I didn't even know they were anti-games.
Well, they used to be like, and they got rid of them like a month ago. They cited better for the player pool when really they mean we're not making as much money.
Sure. Okay, so I guess we open.
We do open.
Yeah.
Cool.
Reads on villain on the button.
Villain is going to be big blind, I think.
Okay. So reads on either of them.
No. I don't have.
Okay.
I don't have any yet.
Okay, so we're feeling our way through this hand then.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Checks to us.
Okay. So I like a c-bet on this board just because of the nature of the two very high cards, even three-way.
Yeah.
And I think we've kind of talked about this before, just betting when we have good hands.
Yeah.
Okay, we've gone 3/4 pot. Interesting. Big hand, big bet, or?
I just thought that, well, button generally is going to be sticky because he's going to be worse because he's got less than a full stack.
Okay.
And I just felt like I was going to get called by anything that he connected with was going to call, and anything he didn't connect was going to fold, so I might as well go bigger.
Sure.
That was it.
I think as a first rule, I would just go small because that allows you to bet other hands like King Jack, King 10, some weaker ace X that doesn't want to bet this sizing like ace 10 or something like that.
Okay. Anyway.
So button, I guess you said folds, right? Yeah. Okay. And now the big blind calls. So what do you make of the big blind's range when they call the flop?
I don't think he would raise like lots of hearts. He could have lots of heart combos, like 7-6 of hearts. I wouldn't raise, obviously.
Yeah.
Because I'm doing too well. And he doesn't obviously want to get, obviously I can have stronger heart draws than that as well. So I figure he can have that. Stuff like, I mean, I know exactly what I was thinking at the time. Yeah, stuff like ace 7, ace 9, ace 8, things like that.
Sure.
Maybe something like queen 5 suited, but wasn't sure if that was going to check raise. Yeah, all sorts really.
I think I think their range is pretty well defined when they call 3/4 pot and a 3-way pot on ace queen 5. Like they just have it. Well, they're going to have to fold queen 10, right, and queen 9 and stuff like that, and even some jack queen versus your sizing. So they're going to have an ace, a 5, and a flush draw, or a flush draw. They're never going to have like king jack or king 10. I think they're just going to have pretty well defined pair or draw.
Okay.
Okay, based on your face, I'm going to assume that they do not have any of those
hands. I look at my face, man.
Okay, right. So obviously we're going to bet the turn.
Okay, what do you like for sizing here? We're 150 deep at the start.
Yeah. So I mean, naturally, I think you're going to want to be choosing a big sizing here again, given that you've already polarized the flop, so you are continuing to polarize the turn. So yeah, somewhere in the region of around pot. Yeah, this looks okay.
This looks okay. Okay.
A little bit on the small side, but
yeah.
It's whatever. Okay. So when they call the big blind, we kind of, I do expect villain to raise better hands than us, and it's so unbelievably difficult for villain to have better hands than us, given that we have bottom set blocker. They have an ace queen, I guess some, but maybe are likely to 3-bet at least the suited combo, so we block that heavily as well. I mean, I don't think we have any other choice but calling the turn. I'm a little bit suspicious, and you said you've got no reads. For me, this is all, I'm automatically just like, I'm just going to call here, and I'm just going to pay the man his money.
Okay.
I'm not happy about it, but if the river breaks off, I'm just going to call.
We do call.
Yeah.
And the river's a queen. And our opponent goes all in.
My instinct is snap call. The reason being is that we have arrived with basically the nut bluff catcher. The 9 is the 9 is extremely irrelevant, given that we bet 2/3 pot on the flop, so they shouldn't have pocket 9s. We unblock hands like 6-7, 7-8, 6-8 of hearts, Jack 10 of hearts, King Jack, which, as I said, might probably folds the flop, but like could have King Jack of hearts as well. And we just hard block his most likely value combo, which is pocket 5s. It's whether or not we believe villain to defend queen 9 on the flop, which I don't think that people would personally, but I'm not 100% sure. But I want to put it to you. How do you define his range?
So this is a really difficult spot, and in the stream, I was getting like fold, because, you know, this is a 10-0 fold. And in essence, like I talked a lot about this hand on stream, and I was talking about how I literally can't have a better hand to call with that isn't obviously the nuts. You know, I can have queens and ace queen, but apart from that, this is like my absolute best hand. Having a 5 is awesome. Having an ace is awesome. Like you said, I bet big on the flop. He really shouldn't have queen 9. He shouldn't have a bare queen. I don't even think king queen wants to bomb here.
Bearing in mind, king queen would never check raise the turn.
Yeah, exactly. So it's so hard, and like you said, ace queen should do a bunch of 3-betting. Like this guy, I didn't have loads of hands on. I just know him as like a very standard. It's not I don't have rees specifically, but there's no reason to deviate. Basically, is what I would say.
Sure.
And I just felt like 7-6 of hearts, 7-8 of hearts. They just felt really like he could have those, you know. And I don't.
Yeah.
It felt like he was capable of having those, and I just trying to explain to the stream. I have to be able to call here. Like I can't make an informative stream about what we're supposed to do in certain spots, and we can't really learn anything if I can't say to you we should probably call here because it's like the nut thing, and then just fold. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
it felt really ugly, but at the same time, I just couldn't imagine having a better hand to call with.
Yeah. There are two things, just like quickly. There's two things. There's the one side of this where like, okay, you have to make exploit folds at your pool, etc., etc., etc. But then there is like you are shooting yourself in the foot and you're preventing yourself from moving up and actually succeeding at higher stakes if you start and continue to fold these spots.
Yeah.
And the people who are telling you to fold, I don't know for sure, but I imagine they're people who are more likely to be stuck at a lower stake for a longer period of time if they continue to own themselves by exploit folding. Even if they are correct folds at the time, that will prevent you from being able to kind of achieve a higher stakes where people actually do start to find bluffs. Furthermore, this is a hand that like, it just doesn't matter if you call and loose. You're calling theoretically correctly. You're making a correct call. It's not like, well, again, like my verdict is going to be, this is not a punt. Like it can't be a punt because it's you've given all the perfect reasons as to why you've called.
I just was interested because everyone was at me for this one.
I'm not surprised people think this is a fold because at 10 and out it probably is a fold. I am trying to kind of both come from the 10 and out because I did come from playing very small stakes as well. And yeah, I know you're going to find value here a lot, but I didn't move up by folding these spots.
Yeah.
I moved up by playing better poker, and that is deciphering the hand as you have, and then coming to the conclusion, then being like, well, okay, fine, we're not going to lose here quite a lot because it's 10-0, but I'm going to call.
And also, Ben, I don't even fold my laundry, so I don't see how I can fold here.
Oh my god.
So we call.
Yeah, well played. And you're going to find, I guess, Queen 9 probably, or
nope. Ace Queen of Diamonds.
Yeah, fair enough. Unlucky. They haven't squeezed pre, so
no punt.
No punt. No
Guys,
punt.
Let's go.
Winning 2-0.
We are winning 2-0. I'm very surprised. I mean, I was hoping that you would see that this was that this is like a difference between the two, you know.
Yeah,
theory.
I can't give this as a punt. It'll be a punt for me to give this as a punt.
Okay, so I'm 2-0.
Right. Yeah, let's move on to the third hand then.
Let's go.
So hand number 3, we've got Jack 10 of diamonds in the small blind. We're getting open from cutoff. Any reads on cutoff?
He is fair. I've never seen him played a pot with him that I can remember. But he's over 200 hands, like 21, 18, 7.
Okay, so we have a pretty mandatory 3-bet here. Cool. Big blind folds and in position. So we are 130 big blinds deep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. 8-4-3 rainbow. So we have a decision here. Firstly, sizing with our range. What kind of sizing do you want to choose on 8-4-3?
I'm torn because there's a couple of things I'm considering. Like being out of position is one. Having obviously pretty strong range from the small blind is another. And obviously doing incredibly well in general. I decided to range bet here and go for small.
Okay.
I think.
So I have to, there's a disclaimer here is that because we're 130 big blinds deep, I'm not actually, I don't study anything other than 100 big blinds. So kind of, we're both feeling our way through a bit here.
Okay.
Generally speaking here, I think you want to be using a bigger sizing. Okay. And the reason for that is that you give a plus EV call to like hands like 9-10 of diamonds or Jack 10 of diamonds if you bet small here. So in position or like ace Jack offsuit. In position is just allowed to float so much that you actually don't really want to be betting small on these textures.
Okay.
You just give a plus EV to call to all those hands.
I may have sized up.
Okay.
I did a little bit actually. I was just thinking, like as I said it, did I size up here?
Yeah, half pot's okay. I think this is okay. But then sorry, the next thing is that Jack 10 of diamonds is similar to that hand we discussed in my hand. Remember, under the gun glass big blind.
Yeah.
This is the suits of our hand. So Jack blocking jacks and 10s is good, but the suits of our hand are pretty woeful. And
we're on a monotone board as opposed to that was a two-tone board, wasn't it, that we looked at before?
So this is rainbow, not monotone.
Oh, sorry. I meant rainbow.
Okay, good. Yeah, that is true. But you basically, because it's a texture you're going to be sizing up on, you're not going to be able to bet range, and there are going to be some hands in your range that will not find their way into betting. Jack 10 probably will find its way into betting sometimes, but I want to say that this is going to find its way in less of the time, and even more so when you're deep. So I'm not a fan of the C-bet.
That's fair enough, man. I knew that after I did that hand that you weren't going to be, but here we are.
So when villain calls, I mean, again, they're going to have lots of overcards, some pocket pairs, 8x, etc. Turns of 4 of clubs. So based on your face again, I'm assuming we're going to probably bet. So betting the turn while seeming quite attractive in the fact that we unblock hearts and spades, which villain now does fold after calling the flop. Hands like ace jack of hearts, ace 10 of hearts now become pure turn folds on the now. But so diamonds is good, but we have nothing. We have no redraw. We have no kind of like visibility to bluff a club on the river, etc. So we need to be checking this combo on the turn. Yeah.
Here's what I'm thinking, if I'm allowed.
Yeah.
I block jacks and 10s. I unblock. I'd rather have this than jack 10 of hearts if I do bet it on the flop, because then like you said, I unblock his jack 10 floats or stuff like that.
You'd rather bluff this combo than jack 10 of hearts.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And blocking jacks and 10s that I think he would always do this with.
Sure.
That's all I've got, man. I'm betting.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough, but like then you're much better off bluffing a hand like ace of clubs jack.
Yes.
Something like that, because you block jacks and you have like a nut flush draw pretender, and you've got an ace as an out potentially against the hand like tens.
Yeah, or queens. You could definitely have queens here.
Exactly. Yeah, this is not a good turn bet. I know what's going to happen though. It's going to come a brick on the river. You're going to shove, and then this is actually quite a good combo to shove on the river. But we'll see.
You're half there. It's not a brick.
Okay, so King of Clubs. This is a really interesting card because now we probably want to develop some multiple sizing strategy, given that the card on the river has changed the board so drastically. So obviously, like aces with the nuts on the turn, whereas now aces with no club are not the nuts. Yes, aces may still want to shove, but like you get what I'm saying, or queens, for example, with the nuts on the turn. Now they're not. With that in mind, you probably want to have two sizings on the river, and I imagine you want a sizing that's going to accommodate a hand like pocket queens and some weak king X, maybe like a hand like king queen with the queen of clubs, that are probably going to want to be able to use a block sizing. And then you also want to have sizing, because obviously the board has changed with like your hands like ace of clubs queen, or pocket aces with the club, or ace king with the ace of clubs. Pocket kings probably wants the block, to be honest, but you probably want two sizes. And then in addition to that, Jack 10 of diamonds, when we're selecting our best bluffing candidates, we need to be blocking folds. No, sorry, blocking calls and unblocking folds. Jack 10 of diamonds does none of that. So we have three things. We have zero showdown, Jack 10 of diamonds blocks no value, and Jack 10 of diamonds doesn't make them fold anything because we don't have a club or anything like that.
Okay.
Therefore, if we do want to bluff Jack 10, which we probably do because our hand's awful and we can make him fold like a hand like 5-6 or pocket 7s or pocket 9s or something like that, I would like to see a block bet with Jack 10 of diamonds here.
Okay.
Shoving is a disaster. Yeah, shoving's an absolute disaster.
I just figured I could have ace king, I can have aces, I can have kings, I can have like, but you're saying a lot of that features a block. I can have ace 4, I can have, and he has just like a bunch of like 9s and like 8x and yeah, obviously he can have some flushes, which isn't great, but I can have flushes too. So I figured this was better than like Jack 10 of hearts, but it's definitely worse than like ace jack with the club.
Yeah, but just because you have those hands doesn't mean then you bluff. You can justify bluffing everything.
Yeah. Look, man, I'm ready.
Well, actually, what I'm going to say, if he folds, it's a no. But no, I'm joking. So it's extremely in the punt category. If this river was like a king of diamonds, then this is a great shove.
Okay.
But it would still be a punt because you bet the flop on the turn.
So would you say that you're not a fan?
I'm going to say I'm not a fan, and I'm going to say this is going 2-1 to, well, no punt.
Yeah, I figured you would say that.
Definitely a punt.
You want to see results?
I do. If he calls like 10s without a club or something, it'd be so funny.
Entire time, Mike. Doesn't even know me.
Yeah.
Call.
Oh, it's gone so badly for you. It's gone so badly for you. Yeah, this makes your play like even further on the punt side if you know what Villa's capable of. Unlucky. I mean,
I have no idea who's capable of this, but like, I don't think he should call.
No, their call's dreadful.
Yeah, that's what I said to the stream. Like, my play may be dreadful, but like, we're both punting all over the place here, aren't we?
Yeah, but like, you are like beyond overbluffing this spot. And if we're going to assume you've got like ace 10 with a club, ace queen with a club, ace jack with a club, and then jack 10 with no club, no heart, no spade, like you're basically bluffing your entire range. So he's probably got a call in that case.
I appreciate you not holding back, man.
Yeah.
We're going with punt, it sounds like.
Yeah, we're going with punt.
But Villain 20 gets a punt as well.
How about that? Sure.
Okay,
fair enough. On to the fourth hand.
Let's go.
So we're on to the penultimate hand, and we are currently winning 2-1 to no punt. So we've got ace 5 of hearts in this hand.
Yeah.
Get an open for 4 bigs. Is this a standard open? And who is Villain?
So this is okay. So you won't know this, but this is the pot button in anti games.
Okay.
And Villain is unknown.
Unknown.
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, we definitely want to continue in some capacity, but this SPR is already kind of a bit weird. I think I would just go ahead and 3-bet. To about 12 or 13 bigs. Okay, I'm on board with this. It's fine.
Okay. He calls.
Yeah. 9-5 deuce with a flush draw.
Mm.
So what's your sizing scheme here? Because I know it's a little bit different to the 8-4-3 from the last hand.
Oh no, this is already sounding bad. I'm checking.
Okay, what about with your betting range? Like, what sizing do you ordinarily choose it?
I would normally go a little bit bigger, out of position on a lower board, with flush draw opportunities out there.
Cool, yeah.
So I'd go
I
like
think
half pot, and then I'd probably go like quite big and then jam turn, to be honest with you, if I was
sure.
betting.
Well, I guess generally I just wanted to say that, yeah, this is a spot for like half pot or 2/3 bet sizing. And as for ace-5, yeah, I think I do kind of like a check on the ace-5. I wouldn't mind betting as well sometimes, but yeah.
Check, check.
Okay, we're all good so far. We have a very clear turn check.
Check.
Okay, good. Ay, 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 this is dicey. Okay, I think we just have a turn fold.
Okay.
I want to ask what you think about his bet, and then I'll say what I think.
Well, I just thought that I don't know. I guess I'm just thinking about general pool. I checked twice. A board's super connected. I'm looking really weak here. If he had something like king queen off, or just a random like ace queen off or something like that with a club, I just expect him to start betting here. Maybe like try and get me off ace king or something. That in the simplest terms. And I figure if I'm just folding here, like what am I checking twice? That's like hugely better than this. I don't know. I was just very concerned that if I folded here, then I was just like being way too weak. Like 3-betting and then check, and then check folding. Just seemed really, really shit. And I just thought he could have like a bear club that was just trying to buy it. So I went. That's what I was going with, basically.
Yeah. So I actually agree with everything you said, and my immediate thinking is like this bet is full of shit.
Okay.
Like I really do believe that.
Yeah.
However, like your equity versus a hand like with like a pair and a straight draw and a flush draw, or even like like king queen with a club, whatever, is not that great. And even more so, like if this was on the river, let's say like that the deuce was paired and the action ended after this bet, then yeah, absolutely cool.
Yeah.
But the fact that there's another street to come on such a wet board, and villain's equity with like just a club is actually very, very good. I feel really, really gross about it, but I would just fold. That said, I actually don't think calling the turn would be horrific, but yeah, it's just your visibility is so poor. I'd much rather call like ace queen with a club than I would ace 5.
I mean, I guess what it boiled down to here was that I expected him to bet a set and a flush draw a whole bunch on flop, and I'm showing a lot of weakness, so I decided that I had to defend here. Sure,
I mean, I agree that you have shown a lot of weakness, and I do agree that villain's going to maybe bluff him more, but I think that your hand is too weak to you just have to kind of take it.
Can't say.
Anyway, what did you do?
I call.
Okay.
River's a deuce of hearts.
Yeah.
We check, and our opponent guzzle him.
Yeah. So as played, I would call the river as well.
Okay.
The reason being is that like I don't believe all that much that turn bet is going to be a very strong value hand. Fair play if villain wants to then like if they have the kind of like the foresight to bet pocket tens on the turn and then follow through on the river, which would be a good play, given how, as we've said, your range is so weak and well defined.
Yeah.
And given that the deuce has changed nothing, I would call the river, but I would have folded the turn.
I do call. So I'm not showing results yet, obviously. So what it really boils down to is whether you think turn is a punt, and therefore like, this compounds the mistake.
This is really interesting.
Bear in mind, if I win this one, I do win. So no pressure.
Yeah. This is actually really, 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 really tough.
This is what happened in your one. I was super conflicted on the
on the same hand. Yeah, the 8 versus 7-9. See, like I think pre-flop's good. I think flop is really reasonable. Like I think you want to bet sometimes. And I think river, and I've said I would call because of the nature of the board not changing. It's whether or not turn is.
Get a phone call there, Ben.
I know what's going on. Sorry.
That's all right. So whether or not turn is a punt.
Yeah, it's whether or not turn is a punt. And to be honest with you, I'm actually going to say it's not a punt.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's really, really cuspy. I think if the river was like,
Oh my god, I won.
if the river was like, in fact, no, if the river's any card apart from like an 8, a 7, or a club, I would also call the river. This is a little bit like the hand that I posted. Remember we talked about where I had ace queen and the guy had 8-9 for a boat.
Yeah.
They're like the board didn't change anything on the river, so like the river wasn't that bad.
Yeah. So it's whether the turn was a punt or
Yeah,
not necessarily.
to be honest with you, I think turn is a losing call, but I don't think it's a punt of a call.
Okay.
Like it can't be.
So it's not a punt then, is it?
I'm going to go with no punt and congratulations.
Guys,
I'm actually, I would be
so
surprised. I'd be really surprised if villain had a value hand here.
Okay. Would you be surprised if he had the absolute stones?
Yeah, I am really surprised to see them check back pocket nines on the flop.
That's what I was surprised.
I guess really surprised.
I guess with a club, sometimes I guess it makes sense. This is probably the only set that you're going to want to check with this specific club as well. So
yeah,
it felt like I was going to be being all that trash that I was talking about and not really losing because I just expected to barrel a whole bunch when I checked flop with everything that was going to beat me. So that's why I went with it.
Unlucky, but no punt again.
Let's go, guys.
Well played. Yeah. All right, on to the last hand anyway. The token last hand.
Oh, the token last hand, as we know, guys. Well, we've set a precedent now. This one's a worldie. Let's go.
Cool. So we're on to the last hand here, guys. And Nick can't actually lose.
Which is great news.
I've heard some good things about this hand.
This is a special one.
Yeah, let's do it.
I mean, I don't think I can live up to 5-0 diamonds, but I'm going to try. I'm going to try. Opening ace queen, Ben.
Seemed good.
Villain calls in the big blind.
Any reads on the villain?
Not really. It's 150 hands, but over those hands, he's playing 20, 13, 4.
Okay.
If that means anything to you.
Yeah, well, pretty tight, to say the least.
Yeah.
Ace queen 8, very good flop.
He checks.
Yeah, I think that you can do a number of things here. I see a lot of people using big sizes, a lot of people using small sizes. I think conventionally people use a small size here, so do what you want. Go for a half pot, somewhere in between.
Just nothing like what you said.
Yeah, I mean, I think, as I said, you can do whatever you want here, really, so this is fine.
Okay. He check calls.
Okay.
Turns a 9.
Mm-hmm.
He checks.
Yeah. We have a pretty clear turn barrel for 2/3 pot. Brilliant. Well played. I mean, it's the tiniest raise of all time.
If you're unaware, just so you know, this is like a micro stakes law. If there were 10 commandments, this would be in here.
What, the min raise turn?
Min raise turn.
Min
raise turn is nuts. Quite a lot. Quite often. Sometimes it isn't, but like, you know, generally speaking.
But by nuts, could they have like ace 9 here?
No.
Really?
Really.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'll take your word for it.
But maybe, like, I don't know this guy very well, but like, do I think a guy playing, even though it's a small sample, do I think a guy playing that over that sample is going to have a check raise with ace 9 here? No.
Okay. I mean, I think they probably would personally, but
yeah, but that's fine. It's your. Dude, yeah. Don't let me distract you.
Sure. Well, I think that given the raise sizing, like generally speaking, big raise size equals bigger hand, right? And small raise size equals weaker hand or supreme nut, like Jack 10 of diamonds. But yeah, anyway, I think we have a call.
Yeah.
If you folded the turn, this would be the most anticlimactic end of all time.
Don't worry, we've got a climactic ending. Don't you worry about that.
Okay.
We call.
You shoved the river versus a bet, haven't you?
Checks.
No, you haven't shoved the river.
Do you want to talk about this before I show you what I did or not?
Yeah. Well, I know you. Oh, maybe I don't know what you're going to do. Anyway, I mean, I think this is versus a player that you've determined that they have the nuts on the turn. Shoving here would be like nuts because, in fact, I'm not even going to talk about shoving because that shouldn't happen. This should just be probably a check based on the fact that you know that villain has a very, very strong turn raising range. For me personally, I'd probably like exploitably block the river, but I can definitely get behind more of a check here, given that the river basically just completes everything. And you're probably not going to get called by now a hand like that you did beat ace 8, for example, that decided to check call flop and check small raise turn. So I think checking's okay.
Okay.
What are your thoughts?
Okay, I'll give you my thoughts.
Yeah.
This opponent, I know it's a small sample, but I do sometimes get hooked into samples. But I don't think that this guy is going to be generally over that sample. It's 150 hands, but it is very tight. I know that people are going to lambast me for that, but whatever. I think that it gets general pool as well when they check this spot. When people check this spot, it's quite weak. And I know that he's going to want to check here with Jack 10, but that's beside the point.
Sure.
What I believe is that he would probably check raise a whole bunch of 8s on the flop. He doesn't have 9-8 because I don't think he would check raise that, as we've talked about.
Yeah.
He doesn't have flush draws because I don't think he's going to be aggressive enough to have flush draw bluffs here. When he goes small, I don't think that makes much sense with the flush draw. I just think Villain 28 has Jack 10 so often here. Like, and if I think when I check back, I'm going to lose like 90+% of the time. I can have aces, I can have queens, I can have ace 9, I can have pocket 8s, I can have pocket queens.
Yeah.
How is a nit going to feel when I 2x pot the river?
Probably pretty bad.
Oh, Ben, we're all in. Sorry, I just showed you the result.
They folded. Yeah, I mean, this is obviously it's a punt. Like you can't shove just because. So that I think that's probably a theme that I've noticed from today, from what you said, is that you say that you can have X, Y, and Z. Like you can have that, you can have that, you can have that. And whilst that is true, that doesn't then mean you just put in all of your money all the time.
I don't do it all the time. Like this is the only instance you'll ever find of me doing this.
Yeah, well, you did it with Jack 10 in the other hand, and then you've done it with this hand.
Okay, well, I'm talking about like 2x potting the river. It's not something I do often. I know that you do it quite a lot. But sure. I just thought this guy had Jack 10, and I didn't think he was going to be able to call.
Yeah, I think that it's just fair to say that if this is a bluff, which you're saying it is,
it's a bluff, yeah.
We're then towing that line again between what's exploitable and what's exploitably okay. Maybe you can justify this exploitably.
This is pure exploit.
Yeah, and then theoretically, this is a huge mistake.
I know that.
But again, like we're basing the punt or no punt based on a combination of both.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you're too high in your range to bluff theoretically. Well, obviously you're too high in your range. You have a very good hand, and also you're too strong to exploitably bluff, I would say. So yeah, I'm going to go with punt.
Fair enough, man. I knew this was going to happen.
That's the final hand.
We saw what he did, but this was a dwell fold. Like he was deep in the tank.
Really?
And I would put my house on him having Jack 10 here.
Yeah.
Just so that I know that I've been given punt, but like I am almost sure that Villain folded Jack 10.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make it any less of a punt. I know.
No, it doesn't. But I mean, like we kind of come back to that point of like you need to do what you know is correct at your pool to make the most money out of it. But whilst it might work on these odd occasions, you might be, and I don't know, you might be shooting yourself in the foot in the long run potentially by making these kind of plays too frequently.
Yeah, I'm not doing this against like someone that's I know is competent or
Fair
seems
enough.
competent.
Yeah. Well, then it's a great exploit in that case. If they did fold Jack 10.
I think he did. Like, what else would he tank fold here?
Yeah, you're probably right. Maybe ace queen as well.
He called the big blind. I mean, maybe. Yeah, maybe ace queen. Yeah, seems fair. But yeah, he's folding that as well, isn't he? I think. So, I mean, very, very ambitious. But like, I wanted to. Yeah. This is like in the stratosphere of 5-3 of diamonds that you brought. So I wanted to.
It is for sure
because it's like stupid as hell. Anyway, should we wrap up?
Cool. So that wraps up the special edition of Punt or No Punt. And Nick, you have won 3-2 in favor of no punt. How are you feeling?
Yeah, deservedly so, I would say as well. Yeah, no, I feel good, man. Like there was a couple that I was super on the fence about, like the H5 of hearts. I wasn't sure whether I was going to get that one through. There were two that I was pretty sure that I was going to get punted on. So I was kind of like relying on the other things being, you're leaning towards theory, being happy with me calling like with the H5 on that river where obviously my watchers, most of my viewers are saying that that's just a very easy fold exploitatively, but I was relying on you leaning towards the theory side of the game to carry me over the line. But I'm very happy to have won, obviously,
nice
on this special event.
And also actually in the second ace 5, the ace 5 of hearts, when the guy had pocket nines, that one was exploitable as well, though, and exploitably, I thought that was good. So, well, that wasn't even a theory non-punt. That was like a.
We were all over the place here, man, but we had fun.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
Yeah, it was good.
And we punted and we did some no punting. So that's really what it's all about in the end of the day.
Yeah.
But I just want to say, man, thank you so much for like doing this, getting in the spirit, hosting it. I know I've asked way too much of you here, but you've taken it on really, really well. So I'm really thankful for you doing these videos with me.
You're welcome.
Me and Ben did agree to 3 videos, guys. I know that you guys love to see Ben on the channel. We're not going to be doing it as, well, maybe never again, but maybe definitely not as frequently. But we'll maybe talk about that in the future with Ben if we can get him on as well. Later on down the line, we can maybe do a video much less frequently. But we did agree to these 3 videos. Ben has been awesome. Like, I cannot thank you enough, man, for doing this with me.
You're welcome, man.
It's just been insane value for me, and I know that the viewers as well have gotten a ton out of it. So yeah, a super nice dude. I'm really glad that we reconnected and got some videos together. So thank you very, very much, dude. Thank you. But the guys, again, thank you so much for 1,000 subscribers. Can't fucking believe that. Excuse my language. I can't fucking believe it. I never thought I would get there. Obviously, we've had some content in the last few weeks, which has done really well, and you guys have enjoyed. So that's boosted me through a bit. But guys, yeah, 1,000 subscribers. I couldn't have even fucking imagined it when I first started. So you guys are the best. Thank you so much for your support. I hope you enjoyed the video. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe. And I will see you guys on the next one.